I know what Jeremy is doing right now. He is scared. I get it. Some guy came out and called him out and put $1 million on the line. You want me to put $1 million on? Let me know where to wire the money. It'll be wired today.
Holy cow, what a crapshoot this has been, as everything money has called onto a $1 million 10-year challenge with Jeremy from Financial Education. If you want updates, go watch the video I posted yesterday, link in the description below. But more shots have been fired as Jeremy recently replied, offered some caveats to how he wants to go about doing this, and then everything money then again replied, throwing some more shots, continuing the drama shit show that this has truly become. So I've kind of broke this down, made it more digestible. We're going to comment on it. So take first and foremost some of the hints in the comments replies from Jeremy.
Nitty gritty. Oh my gosh. Shoot. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I left that up. Gosh. Shoot. Oh, my fault. I didn't mean to leave that up at all. 1,600% gain. I mean, showing a value investor something like that, that's like trying to take a nun to a strip club. Like, you just don't do that, man. Like, I apologize for that, okay? Alrighty, so first off here, I didn't like the terms they gave, okay? They want to do a 10-year challenge. I had suggested a 5-year challenge, okay? I do not really want to do a 10-year challenge. However, I will accept. I don't want to do a 10-year challenge, and the reason I don't is I always focus on the next 3-5 years, and 10 years is so long. Like, so much can happen with the company. I watched Tesla go from like a bankrupt like joke company to the biggest company in the world when it comes to automobiles in a 10-year span. But with that being said, I'll accept it being all the way spread out to a 10-year challenge, okay? That's a bit out there, but that's fine. We'll do a 10-year challenge, okay? Here's what I'm suggesting. So very simply, here's how it's gonna be done, in my opinion. Here's how I want it done. I want it done in an Excel spreadsheet, simple. And Mr. Ohio State, I know you know how to do an Excel spreadsheet. They teach that there, right? So just put it all in an Excel spreadsheet. We're gonna pick our 10 stocks, okay? So here's gonna be your stocks. The gains and losses. Also, if you wanna have a category for dividends, that can be fine, because I know some of your stocks are gonna pay dividends. Maybe one of mine pays a dividend as well, okay? So we can factor that all into the total return. In terms of dollar amounts, I wanna do $300,000 over the 10 years. $300,000 represents the amount of money I lost in Voyager stock, which is the whole reason we're even talking about this competition now, right? So $300,000 goes to charity, $30,000 after every single year, okay? Whoever's winning the competition doesn't have to pay it. And that person decides what charity the losing person has to pay the money to, essentially.
To refine, dine, and simplify Jeremy's caveat to basically Paul's, $1 million challenge, dump $1 million into the account. We'll see how it performs year over year. And every year you're underperforming or overperforming, you can donate a specific amount to a charity of choice. So Jeremy's kind of response to this, well, I only want to do $300,000, and every single year for 10 years, whoever's winning or losing, we'll take an extra $30,000 to donate to the charity of choice. Now, this is getting way too convoluted, because I thought Paul from Everything Money really made this easier by saying, let's use a Charles Schwab, a larger brokerage account, whereas Jeremy's really falling back, obviously, onto these spreadsheets after throwing some punches, making fun of value investors never being able to see the kind of gains that he's gotten out of Tesla. So this is getting very heated, very interesting, and Paul took this really like as far as he could with that stick up his butt as usual. He really kind of hammered back in his response. So let's see exactly what he responded with, and then we'll kind of take the broader overview.
I throw out a number. I said, let's deposit $1 million in the account. Whoever wins at the end of 10 years, $100,000 a year, essentially, but I put different parameters in there. So I honored the things he asked for, okay? But I wanted real money, because guys, nothing bothers me more than people who do this without anything on the line. It's so easy to talk. Talk is cheap. We've all heard that. I know you love Jeremy. If you love Jeremy, I'm fine with that, but just listen to the facts. Then he comes back and starts to say that I'm gonna bail on him. Guys, this is a tactic very commonly used by people who want to provoke someone else to bail. It's so obvious. Then he says, well, I don't want to do a 10-year challenge, but I'll do it, but I want to do $30,000 a year, and we're going to keep track on Excel. He starts talking about Excel. Guys, there's a reason why he wants Excel. He does not have money. I offered to have Charles Schwab, Fidelity, E-Trade, one of those companies, watch over the money. It's very easy to. It's very easy to have that happen. Watch over the money, and report every year the results. I am not going to disclose my investments for two reasons. One, this might sound like a cop-out, but it's 100% true. Our lawyers have said repeatedly, and you go to our community, in our chat, people say, what do you own? And I've been saying it for a few weeks now, guys, I'm not allowed to discuss what I own. This is very consistent. I can prove it over and over again. Two, I do not want Jeremy claims like, oh, I'm these boring companies. There'll be a time when he gets desperate. Everything that I predicted in the last year and a half with guys like Jeremy and everybody else has happened. Jeremy will not be in this business in 3 to 5 years. Instead of being a pansy and trying to deflect like you've been doing since day one, don't deflect. Just agree to the $1 million and then we can negotiate the terms. Oh, by the way, my people already emailed Jeremy and asked him to come on a live stream on Monday to discuss the terms. No response. So who's the one that's trying to deflect here? Who's the one that's trying to bail? Put the $1 million in an account.
Now, there's a few things I agree with Paul on and a few things that I don't that I want to discuss here. But first and foremost, this has become a true pissing contest of these conglomerate YouTubers in the finance niche. I mean, these guys combined are worth probably hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, this is so epic. I think it's only comparable to Martin Shkreli, Pharma Bro, or even the Bill Ackman, Carl Icahn battle. I mean, this is truly epic beyond proportions, in my humble opinion. So when it comes to coming up with the capital itself, I don't think Jeremy has the money. I think Paul's right here because, I mean, he dumped a lot of his emergency fund into silver, which obviously isn't doing too well. All of his stocks that have been down, he's been aggressively coming up with cash to keep buying them at these lows. So the only way he could come up with $1 million, I think, is by selling out of some of his positions. But I don't think it would be a big deal to either transfer them over to a Charles Schwab or a different account where both of those, their money sits so they can monitor it from a third-party institution. That's probably going to be the only option Jeremy truly has here, because I just don't think he has the kind of money up front like Paul has, being much more conservative in nature. But the other thing that's really funny here is all we want to see is Paul's return comparably, because Jeremy shows his returns over the last several years and how he's performing against the S&P 500, which he has been sustainably outperforming from his last update. But at the same time, Paul is still hiding behind his lawyers saying, hey, I can't really show my holdings because of what we're promoting here, and the lawyers keep advising against it because it could put us in legal issue. But at the same time, we don't want to see your holdings. We probably know what you're holding because you talk about it all the time. We just want to know what your performance has been, because personally, I don't think they've made any real money or have outperformed the S&P 500 over the last few years since they've been running a YouTube channel, right? Now, this has just been a constant back and forth batter here, and I don't think they're going to find any kind of, honestly, at this point, I don't think they're going to come to terms because, you know, they said they reached out to Jeremy, but like me, I might not check my emails hour by hour, and it's only been a day since this has been going on. So Jeremy could just be waiting for the response. I'd really hope, just for the drama, the media, the attention, that they actually go together on a live stream event or do something just in collaboration, because I'm curious if they would be this ballsy actually face to face, or if they'd be more cordial. But honestly, the way they've been throwing punches at each other, I feel like it would be probably one of the most epic things to happen in the financial community in a very, very long time here. So let's pray to God Jeremy reaches out, does the email, actually comes and has a discussion, and they find some middle ground, because obviously at this point, with the amount of combativeness, I just don't see this actually playing out. But maybe they can come to terms on a $300,000 or $500,000 portfolio, and then they can monitor it. And I do agree with Paul that, you know, he did mention throughout the video that he needs to be able to, you know, trade. We're not just buying stocks to dump in there for the next 10 years. But at the same time, he also said, well, then I could also buy the S&P 500, and you can choose if I buy the S&P 500. So I don't know what it matters if these are permanent holds for the next 10 years, or if what should it matter? That should be an agreeable term, right? Like, I'll pick 10 stocks, you pick 10 stocks. If you don't want to pick the 10 stocks, then go ahead and buy the ETF, and then don't worry about it. But I also agree that over a 10-year term, as I've mentioned before, if you're buying individual stocks, they become overvalued, undervalued. You need to be able to trade them. This is why I have done so successfully, as I've mentioned, building my portfolio so aggressively, was taking profit on companies like Tesla and some of these high-flying, overvalued stocks that I was able to get into early, right? So there's a lot at play here, and I really think they could simplify it down by saying, you know, let's just pick 10 or 15, and you know what, hey Paul, like you said that, you know, you would be fine with an S&P 500 index, so dump the $1 million in the S&P 500, and I'll pick the individual stocks, and I won't day trade them like he mentioned. Like, I'm sure there's much more accumable terms here they could come together on, but I'm loving this. this is what I live for, baby. I mean, this is what makes investing so much fun, because we can learn so much from events like this as millionaires fight it out. But I want to pass the question again off to you. This is the part 2 of this series. For as long as this is going on, I'm going to keep updating it, so consider subscribing and I'll make a playlist for it. But on that note, stay cool, stay awesome, and as always, I look forward to catching you in the next one.